Can I start?
Yes. Yes, you can start.
So next I am going to discuss solution to system of linear equations. So when we say linear system of equation, they represent n simultaneous equations with n unknowns. Such system of equations appear in engineering structures like elastic solids or seepage of fluids or electromagnetic fields and electric circuits and so on. When we model these linear systems, they give rise to system of equations. Using the matrix notation, we are going to write it in the form Ax equal to B, where B is the input, X is the response of the system, here A is the coefficient matrix which will reflect the characteristic of the system and it is independent of the input. So the methods are Gauss elimination method, Gauss-Jordan method, Gauss-Seidel method. No doubt Gauss-Seidel is an iterative method. And then you have LU decomposition. You may be wondering, we are discussing numerical methods. We are discussing numerical methods and this Gauss elimination, Gauss-Jordan, LU decomposition are all analytical way of solving system of equations, right? You may have a question, why do we need to study it here? The thing is, when we talk about linear system of equations, in the class you would have taken 3x3 system and you would have done it analytically. But in reality, when we talk about linear system of equations, as I mentioned earlier, it will be n equations in n unknowns. Right? So it is n equation in n unknowns. You cannot manually solve, right? You need to make use of computational techniques and do the coding and arrive at the solution. So for that, let us learn how to implement using MATLAB. Since these methods are very common methods which you would have taught in the class, I'll directly go to MATLAB implementation. Before learning solution of system of equations, let us quickly go through matrices in MATLAB. As I mentioned, every variable will be stored in the form of matrix, right? That's why the name MATLAB, which is Matrix Laboratory. But when you want to define a matrix, you just have to use square brackets, give a space between every entry. So this will give me an output in the form 1, 2, 3. It's an array now. Since it is a one row, it's an array. If I want the same thing in columns, I just have to put a semicolon, right? Now it has returned me a column vector. Array is nothing but arrangement of elements in row and columns, right? So if I want, say, 1 space 2, 3 space 4, 7 space 5, it has returned me how many rows are there? There are 3 rows and 2 columns. So can you just see now how do we represent matrix using MATLAB? So linear algebra will include matrix arithmetic, solution to system of linear equations, finding eigenvalues and eigenvectors. Entries could be real or complex as well. We use symbolic math toolbox. Whatever the computation I did till now, declaring the variables as symbolic variables, I have used symbolic math toolbox. Later in the next topic, I'll show you how to use other toolboxes if time permits. As I have just shown, square bracket will mark the beginning and end of the matrix. Commas, you can use the comma also to have a row vector, say 1, 2, 3 will return me same one, beginning. Without comma also it will work. It will work with comma as well. Next we have semicolons to separate the values of different rows that I have already explained. If I put a semicolon, it will take it to second row. So you will have columns using the semicolons. So these are the 3 important things you need to remember when you use matrix in MATLAB. Hope I have made it clear. Let's look into matrix operators plus addition of matrices. It is element wise. So usual plus symbol, addition, minus symbol for subtraction, multiplication, A star B, provided the dimensionality matches. Then you have right division, left division, exponentiation. You can use hat or double star. Other thing is element wise operation using the dot operator. So dot star does the element wise operation. For example, I have, say, elements A1, B1. I have another matrix A2, B2. I want to multiply the 2 with a dot operator, dot star. So this dot star will give me A1, A2, that is element wise operation, and B1, B2. Is that clear? Usual matrix multiplication would be row column multiplication, right? So this dot star dot, each operation will give us element wise operation of that. We have transpose with a prime notation as well. So let me take few commands which are usually used. Size of A will give you order of the matrix. Det of A will return determinant of the matrix provided it is a square matrix. INV of A will compute inverse of the matrix provided determinant A is non-zero. Rank of A will return rank of the matrix. Eigenvalue of A, E is denoted by EIG of A, will provide the eigenvalues. this is diagonalization, and this will give you row echelon form of the matrix. RREF will return the row echelon form. LinSolve, which we are more interested now, to solve the system of equation, the arguments being a comma b, linear system denoted by matrix notation in the form ax equal to b. Is that clear? Shall we start coding? It's very simple. You can take one matrix and check the order of the matrix. So it has stored 1, 2, 3, 4 in the form of a matrix with the variable name A. I want to find size of A. It is 2 cross 2. Then I need, you can try other operations as well. Determinant. Right? Determinant is -2 and so on. You can try all these things. I'll just take up an example to solve system of linear equation. Let us consider the solution to system of equation by checking the consistency and solving it. This is the elementary thing we do in the class when we introduce linear algebra. I have taken 3 by 3 system. It could be a resultant of analyzing an electronic circuit with KCL or KVL, or it could be a resultant of solution of partial differential equation. In that procedure, if you have Laplace equation, you use finite difference technique, which sir had explained in the last class. You arrive at such system of equations. PDE will be converted to linear equations and you are going to solve it to get back the solution of PDE, right? So any one of such cases has resulted in this system of equations. I have taken an example of order 3 by 3, but in reality we'll have large number of equations. First of all, you have to give the coefficient matrix. Let us do one example slowly. To coefficient matrix will have the elements 1, 1, 1 in the first row, 1, 2, 3 in the second row, 1, 2, 5 in the third row. I am separating each element in a row by a comma and column by semicolon. Hope this notation is clear. Next, let us give the RHS B equal to 6, 10 and 2. It's a column vector separated by semicolon. What is the usual way? We construct the augmented matrix A is to B, right? So we need to append the elements of A and B in a single matrix. Operation is comma. Square bracket A comma B will arrange the elements of A and B together. Then we need to find the rank of A. Rank of matrix A comma B. If the two ranks are same, system will be consistent. Then we can give the command. If they are consistent, we can give the command linsolve A comma B. The last command I had shown in the previous slide was linsolve A comma B. It solves system of linear equations with A as the coefficient matrix, B as the RHS. Can anyone tell me what is rank of A? Anyone check? Rank of A?
One, ma'am.
Rank of the equation. Rank of the matrix A. So A is the matrix, coefficient matrix, B is the RHS. This is the augmented matrix A is to B. I need to find rank of A. Rank of A is to B. If the two are equal, unique solution exists. Then I'm using the command linsolve A comma B. So I had not put a semicolon here. It has displayed matrix A, matrix B. This is my augmented matrix. Rank of matrix A is 3. Got it? Anyone tried with rank of matrix A is to B? So linsolve A comma B will return the solution -2, 12 and -4. This was a 3x3 system, easy to solve manually. But when we have say some 10x10 system or larger than that, we need to go for implementing it on using computer techniques. Done. Can I move on to next example? Rather, I'll take up one more method to solve system of equation. Done. So let me consider another interesting method called LU decomposition method. It's also called triangularization method. If we have a consistent system AX equal to B, we can solve this directly by decomposing the coefficient matrix A as a product of lower triangular matrix L and an upper triangular matrix U. That method is called the LU decomposition method. Let us see how to implement using MATLAB. So this square bracket LUP will return an lower triangular matrix L, upper triangular matrix U with a permutation matrix P such that LU equal to PA. So you are using the function here LU of A. Given system of equation is written in the matrix form AX equal to B. After identifying A and B, you have to give the code LU of A. Then we need to get the solution with the condition y equal to L left division P star B, x equal to U left division y. This backslash operator will compute the solution of the system of equation. So let us take up an example. You need to solve, this is a 4x4 system. If you have taught this method in the class, you know how difficult it is to obtain the elements of L and U for a 4x4 system. It is time consuming. So let's identify the matrix A. It's a 4x4 matrix. RHS, I am denoting it by B. Elements are just a second. There is a change in the RHS. It is not 0, it is 7. I'm sorry. This is 7. And the last one is -5. So first is defining matrix A and B. Then LU of A will return L and U. First, we are going to solve by direct substitution. Solve for y as L backslash P star B. P is the permutation matrix. And then you are going to solve x, which is the column vector of unknowns x, y, z, using U backslash y. I'll give a section break. So the output is 5, 6, -10 and 8. Values of x, y, z and u are given to be 5, 6, -10 and 8 respectively. Done. So next I'll move on to interpolation. So computing values for a tabulated function at points not in the table is historically a most important task. Many famous mathematicians have their names associated with procedure for interpolation. Uh, to name a few, Gauss, Newton, Bessel, Stirling, Lagrange, and so on. The need to interpolate began with the early studies of astronomy, when motion of heavenly bodies was to be determined from periodic observations. So these interpolation methods demonstrate some important theory about polynomials and accuracy of numerical methods. It serves an excellent introduction to some techniques for drawing smooth curves. I'll explain this again when I take up the next topic. So interpolation is a technique of estimating the value of a function for any intermediate value of the independent variable. You have values of independent variable given to be x0, x1 and so on, xn, corresponding values of dependent variable as y0, y1 and so on. If you know the relationship between y and x explicitly, no need of any technique, right? You just give the value of x, you will get back the value of y. But when you don't know the relation and you have only the tabulated values, the process of computing a value of y corresponding to some x which is not present in the table, that is called interpolation. If that is outside the given range, it is called the extrapolation. So in yesterday's session, sir has explained in detail the concept of finite differences. I'll just skip this. So we have few interpolation techniques: forward interpolation, backward interpolation, central interpolation for equally spaced values. And sir had explained the accuracy of central difference compared to other interpolation techniques. And then we have Lagrange interpolation, Newton divided difference interpolation for unequally spaced values of x. And then we have spline interpolation as well. So let us learn how to implement this using MATLAB. Syntax is interp1 interp1 x comma y are the data and xq is the point at which you need to find the value y. Next we have one more command. We can specify the method. I'll show the table of different methods. It could be nearest, next, previous or linear, spline and so on. P-chip, cubic will be cubic spline. By default it will be linear. So we have the last one. You can do the extrapolation as well, but this interp P1 will serve as a method for extrapolation as well. You need not have to specify that you need to extrapolate. It does find the corresponding value of y when x is just outside the interval. So these are the methods and these are the corresponding description. So nearest corresponds to nearest neighbor interpolation. You have piecewise cubic interpolation, spline interpolation, and so on.
What he is given is அவருக்கே ஒன்றும் தெரியலன்றாரு. அவருக்கே ஒன்றும் தெரியலன்றாரு.
Can I continue?
Yes, madam.
Some disturbance was there.
Yeah, we'll mute everyone. No problem. You can continue, ma'am. Right.
So I'll take a simple example. We need to find the value of cos 53 degree. So we have to define few sample points of x and corresponding values of the dependent variable, say v. I'm taking x to vary from 0 to 90. Since 53 it is in degrees, I'm defining from 0 to 90 degree in steps of 5 degree. So when I define like this, 53 will not fall into this, right? I'm taking the step length as 5. It is an intermediate value. And I had mentioned in the beginning, when we are using functions in degrees, we need to attach a d here. So cos d of x, this is the function. Now the unknown value for which we have value of x for which we have to find y is 53 degrees. So I am defining it as xq. These are all just notations. You can use any variable to define those values. So the code for this is interrupt 1 x comma v comma xq. You can even use y for this. So let us see. Just a second. So the value of cos 53 degrees is 0.6013. You can just verify using calculator and check the answer. Let me take another application example. If we are measuring viscosity of oil as a function of temperature and tabulated as below, if we have to find the temperature corresponding to temperature 145 degrees, if we have to find the viscosity of the oil using this technique, let us see how to Get it? So the values of x, you are giving it as input 110, 130 separated by space, or you can put a comma in between. You are defining this as a row vector, x as a row vector, then y as another row vector, each value separated by a space or a comma. Then the function xq is the value for which we have to find the y, that is 145. Function is interrupt 1, and here I am giving the method as spline. You can check with other methods also. So let us see what is the corresponding value of y. When you observe the values of y, it is decreasing, right? 10.8, 8.1, 5.5 and 4.8, right? And when we observe the answer here, it should be somewhere between 8.1 and 5.5. We have got 6.5737. You can check with other methods and see the accuracy. This is another similar example.
Jayalata, hello Jayalata.
Yeah.
You can just erase that whatever is written on the screen.
But I'm not getting the option actually.
Annotation, you're not getting?
Enable attendee annotation is there. I tried actually.
Okay.
Clear annotation is not there.
Show names, okay. Enable attendee annotation.
I think from host system.
I'm not able to, the one who is sharing the screen can annotate, but I have given the.
Only these many options are there. Okay. Any questions in the chat? Oh, good. They're putting the answer. Sorry. I
Yes,
didn't-
yes.
Very nice.
Yeah. Okay, you can continue. Thank you.
Yeah. Very nice. Okay. Okay. So we need to find the area of a circle when area is given for different diameters here. Corresponding to diameter 105 units, we have to find the area. I have used two methods here, and these are the solutions. So you can try this later. The last thing I have here is numerical integration. Again, why do we go for numerical way of finding the value of a definite integral is a question. It could be like, you know the integrand expression, but it is tedious to integrate and substitute the limits. That is one thing. Or given tabulated values of the integrand corresponding to the variable, and you have to find the definite integral. In both the cases, we go for numerical integration. We have one is with Newton-Cotes quadrature formula as shown here with different values of n. We have trapezoidal rule, Simpson's 1/3 rule, 3/8 rule and Wedel's rule. Next we have Gaussian quadrature, 2-point and 3-point formulae. So which can be derived from this. So here we have obtained C0 and C1, and in the next case it is C1 and C0, C1 and C2. So let us see how do we implement using MATLAB. INT of y, given y as f of x, INT of y will return a function after integration. It is a direct way of integrating it. So instead of INT, if you are using integral, fun is the given function, x minimum is the lower limit, x max is the upper limit. It will numerically integrate the function, given function, from that minimum value to maximum value. Another possibility is quad GK. The other one is trapezoidal rule. Same thing with x is specified also. So dimension match should happen here. So these are the 4 possibilities. Let us take up few examples. So you have to integrate this. When you observe the integrand, is it possible to use any substitution method and do it? So we need to go for numerical integration here. Limits are specified as 0 to 0.6. I have to call the function e power minus x square into the integral function. So it is defined as an anonymous function at function x e power minus x square. And observe here, this will be a row vector. So I have to put a dot here. It does element wise operation. If it were to be constant, say 2x, then I can directly put 2 star x. Since it is x square, which is x star x, I have to do element wise operation here. So I need to put a dot here. And now the integration function is integral of fun comma 0 comma 0.6. 0 is the lower limit, 0.6 is the upper limit. So let us try this. So this is the code when I run. I have used both integral and quad GK. I'm getting the same answer here. So it is 0.5352. Value of this integral happens to be 0.5352. I have used both the functions here. So first you have to define the function as an anonymous function e power minus x square. You have to call that function in the as the argument to the function integral, or you can use quad GK as well. So let me take another application example. A rocket is launched from the ground. Its acceleration is registered during the first 80 seconds and is given in the table. You have to find the velocity of the rocket corresponding to t equal to 80 seconds, right? So I have to integrate from 0 to 80. I have taken Since they are equally spaced, I have given the step length as 10. This is my y. If they are unequally spaced, you have to specify x. I'm using trapezoidal rule here, and this is the solution. See, in the previous example, function was known. In this case, you have values of the function corresponding to values of t, right? In both the cases, numerical integration works. So it is a very simple code. You are giving x and y as row vectors, and the function is trapezoidal trapz of x comma y. So this is another such example which you would have taught in the class. A solid of revolution is formed by rotating about x-axis, area between x-axis and lines x equal to 0 and 1, and a curve through the point with the following coordinates. You have to estimate the volume of the solid formed. So it is required to find integral 0 to 1 pi y square dx. So this remains same. Step length is 0.25 here. So starting from 0 to 1 in steps of 0.25, corresponding values of y are given as row vector, and I'm defining capital Y to be y square here. I need to have one more row corresponding to which I have to find square of these values, right? Then V is pi star trapezoidal of x comma the new y, capital Y. So this is the answer. Hope it is clear. Can I just stop sharing for a moment? I'll just open the next PPT. Any doubts still here? Hope it was interesting. You are able to learn something out of it. Next, I'll move on to the topic data fitting. Are you able to see the screen?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So the next topic is data fitting and applications using MATLAB. With the advent of science and technology, nowadays buzzwords are data science, big data, machine learning. Mathematics has a major role in these fields. Keeping this in mind, I have chosen an important topic, data fitting, that has many real life applications. Firstly, I will give an introduction to this data fitting and then about different methods, possible curves, how to fit them, coding using MATLAB, and few case studies as well. I'll quickly go through. So hope I'm left with some 20 minutes, 20 more minutes. Let me consider a function of x as 2x plus 5. If x takes the values 1, 2, 4 and 7, can you just quickly tell me values of f of x? Corresponding values of f of x. Corresponding values of f of x. So corresponding to x equal to 1, it will be 7. Then corresponding to 2, 9,
9, 13, 17,
13 and 19. Let us think about converse problem. Given x comma f of x, is it possible to get f of x for a value of x not in the table without knowing f as a function of x explicitly? Let us forget this for a moment. We have this. Can you just get back the function? See, so the question is, where does this given function f of x come from in the first place? Answer could be analytical models of phenomena using equations from physics, or create an equation from observed data. You would have conducted some experiment and you want to fit the data to the form of a curve. So let me consider the example I had discussed earlier. There is an experiment of measuring viscosity of a liquid at different temperatures. You would have noted down V and T values, that is corresponding to temperature values. You have viscosity listed. After few months, you want to know viscosity for a temperature that was not listed down during the experiment. What will you do? Are you going to redo the experiment? Or is there a way to get V for T not tabulated? Just now we have learned a method, right? What is that method? Interpolation, right? So one way of data fitting is interpolation. I have used a fancy word, data fitting, here. Many types will come under this. So let us quickly go through. It's connecting the data to dots. If the data is reliable, you can connect the dots. Limitation is having a general function f of x. It will not work for a data which has random error. So this is how we get joining the dots through straight line. If you have, say, x0 to x5 and corresponding y values, that is, there are 6 values. you can approximate the data to a fifth degree polynomial, right? So you can find y corresponding to x0, x5, that is the interpolation, or just outside the interval, which is nothing but extrapolation. If you have to find for the intermediate values, say 0.5, 1.5, or some 6.5, 7.1, and so on, you can still use this. But for a value of x, say x equal to 50, our range was from 0 to 6. You cannot use the method, right? To overcome this, we have another data fitting technique called curve fitting, which involves capturing the trend in the data by assigning a single function across the entire range. So this is a scatter diagram. You can, depending on the trend, how it clusters, you can have a straight line fitting or a parabola or power curves and so on. So many of these physical problems will involve this fitting of curves to the experimental data points. It could be the case just now I mentioned, measuring viscosity versus temperature, measuring voltage V across capacitor at different times, experiment on friction of bearings, coefficient of friction versus temperature, or growth of bacteria in a sample, or it could be voltage and resistance of a carbon filament lamp, or it could be measurement of electric resistance R of a copper bar at different temperatures, or it could be measurement of load and deflection in a simply supported beam. So these are few situations wherein we come across this data fitting. So when we talk about curve fitting, it is a technique to determine the curve of best fit. These are the four methods: graphical method, method of group averages, method of least squares, method of moments, but the most commonly used technique is method of least squares. So it is based on the fact that sum of the squares of vertical deviations of the experimental data from the fitted curve is minimum. So you have x1 to xn given and the corresponding y known, as I mentioned. So you have to have this vertical distance, sum of the squares of this vertical distance to be minimum. It is minimizing this yi. All these blue dots are the actual data points. I am seeing the trend, I am approximating it to a straight line. You have to find such a straight line satisfying this condition. So it is, least square method is nothing but minimization of this actual point and the approximated point. Sum of the squares of such points should be minimum. So it's not possible to find a curve which will pass through all these points, but you can get an approximated curve. Possible curves could be straight line y equal to a plus bx, or you can have a modification a by x plus b. It could be an exponential curve e power bx or ax power b, all these power curves, and parabola. I have listed these things immediately after linear because you can reduce all these things to this form and do it. I'll not go through the method in detail because you would have already learned, taught it many times. So this is the technique of least square. I'll just go to coding part of it. We have arrived at the normal equations. See, knowing xi, yi, n will be known. So you are going to find summation x adding x values, summation y adding y values, and then you find out similarly two more columns, summation x square, summation xy, and you are going to substitute here, solve for unknowns a and b, substitute here, which gives you the required straight line fit. So I'll move to MATLAB coding. it is a single line code. Fit object is a name given. Function is fit. Arguments are x comma y and fit type. This fit type xy is the given values of x and corresponding values of y. This fit type could be poly 1 corresponding to straight line, poly 2 corresponding to parabola, exp1 corresponding to this, and power 1 corresponding to this. So let us try fitting a straight line. I have taken as many application problems as possible. You have latent heat of vaporization of steam R given in the following table for different temperatures T. I have solved the normal equations. I have the table here and these are the values. Let us see how to implement it. And this is the final R expression, R as a function of T. See, this y equal to x plus b, we as mathematicians are happy having the variables x and y. In practical situations, whatever the variable come, you can just modify it accordingly. Here it is of the form R equal to a plus bt. After finding a and b, this is the required line of fit. So let us see how do we code it using MATLAB. So this is the one. Now you have become familiar with matrix notation. You have to take x and y as column vectors. So I have put a prime here. So I'll just show an example. X equal to 1 space 2 space 3 and I'm giving a prime here. I'll just run. So it is displayed as a column vector. Hope I have made it clear. In a similar way, we are taking x and y as column vectors. These were the values given in the table. And the function here is fit. Since I have to fit a straight line, I'm using the function type as poly 1. It has to be given in the form of a string with P capital. MATLAB is case sensitive. Wherever capital letters are there, you have to use that only. You cannot mention small letter, error will be given displayed. So this is the output I'm getting now. Anyway, I'll just not run the code you are already familiar with. You just have to type this and see. This is the output I'm getting. It will give you the values of a and b, ax plus b form. Instead of a and b, it has used the notation p1 and p2. So these are the values. And finally, the equation, let us see the previous answer. Hope it is matching. Yes, it was 1091 and minus 5422. Correct? Yeah. Now, let us analyze this. Let us assume we have not joined it by this red line is the line we have fit now. These blue dots are the actual data points. Before fitting, you can just observe the trend and decide which curve best suits the present situation. See here, they have clustered around a straight line. When you fit a straight line, only one point is deviating from this. So the method of least squares is the best method to fit a curve. But you should know the trend and you should decide which curve best suits the data. So we have this. I'll take up another example. Okay, this is again a straight line you are already familiar with, which is poly 1. I had, if time would have permitted, I have taken these in detail. So it is just simple giving x as a column vector, y as a column vector. Then you have the function fit xy poly 1 and I am comparing with the values obtained with plot f of x comma y so that you can observe how many points are deviating. So I'm fitting it to I'm plotting that, I'm using the plot command just to observe whatever A and B I have got, and I'm fitting the straight line will match with the data points. When you observe, there is slight variation from this, but when you observe the trend, no doubt it is approximating to a straight line, correct? So next, to fit a parabola in the form r equal to a plus bv plus cv square, we have this table giving the measurement of train resistance. V is the velocity, r is the resistance, related by the relation r equal to a plus bv plus cv square. So we know the normal equations. Now code is poly 2. It will fit a second degree polynomial. These are the values of ABC. You can just observe from the previous one. Values were 4.35, 0.0024 and 0.002871, exactly matching with the previous values. I can just show you here. Remember these values of ABC exactly matching with the one we have done using this. And observe here how beautifully it is coinciding with the given data points. So observing the trend, you can decide one point starts from here and it is ending here. When you want to join it by a smooth curve, you cannot have a straight line, right? If you try fitting a straight line, in this case, there will be more deviation of these points from the fitted curve. So you can observe here, it suits with a second degree polynomial. So next is an exponential curve. What we do, we take log on both sides, reduce it to the form of linear equation in the form y equal to a plus bx. So function type here will be exp of 1. I have taken, what was that example? Yeah. Following table gives the number of days X and percentage of people affected by spread of virus. It could be the current scenario. So the answer is y equal to 3.082 e power 0.5693. So let us see that. You have to give X and Y as column vectors. You can quickly try, only 3 entries are there. And the function type here is exp of 1. E should be capital here. I'm just verifying it by plotting f of x comma y. So these were the 3 data points. You can observe here one blue dot is there, and here one, and here one. These two are little away from the curve, and this is coinciding. So the case studies could be to develop numerical calibration procedures for river water quality control. It could be climate change. It could be agricultural engineers and biologists who should have to develop use of observed events, perform predictions with different scenarios, or it could be modeling objects from monocular image sequences, or it could be fitting the results from reaction calorimetry. In all these cases, we need the concept of data fitting. Depending on what we have to predict, we can go for interpolation or curve fitting. So whatever little knowledge I had in numerical methods and their implementation using MATLAB, I have tried sharing with you people. If you have any queries, you can ask. Hope I have finished well within the time.
Yes, Professor Jailata, thank you so much. for the wonderful sessions.
If there are no queries, I just want to end up with a quotation. In Sanskrit, Kashta Dagnir Jayate Mathyamana Bhumistvayam Kanyamana Dadati Sotsahanam Nastya Sadhyam Naranam Marga Rabdhaha Sarvayatnaha Phalanti. See, when we say students come up with so much gadgets now, we should be updated and we should be in a position to teach them in a better way. So this says fire can be made from just twig and nothing else by rubbing together. Digging the earth, water can be obtained. If a person has enough enthusiasm, nothing is impossible. So enthusiasm in us will lead to success. Success is guaranteed when efforts are put in right direction. Thank you.
Thank you so much. One of the participants is asking for a reference book for MATLAB.
Okay, if you give me 2 minutes, I'll just tell you.
Yes.
In this MATLAB documentation, search documentation, you can type whatever you want and it will show. Actually, it's a self-learning thing. If you have registered for 30-day trial version, I suggest you to go through MATLAB on ramp. It will be there in the home page of MathWorks. Any tool for that matter nowadays, you just go to help option. It will explore all the possible commands. You can just go. It will give you the documentation. So I have just given sine command. It will show me how does the sine wave look like. You can explore many things here actually. Yes. So it will show how to use this function. It will give examples here. And many more things actually. So if you have already registered to 30-day trial version, in the home page itself, they'll give you many online courses which are for free. And if you have any on-campus license, you will be able to access to many of the things. One book written by IASC Professor Rudra Pratap, that is a very good book to learn MATLAB. MATLAB for engineers, I think. I'll just share the reference along with my PPT. Whatever minimum thing required is given there. Using that, you can explore many things using MATLAB window.
Any questions? Participants? Okay, I think.
Hello, madam.
Yeah, please.
So, good afternoon, madam.
Good afternoon, sir.
Madam, everything is good, madam. We understood a lot. Thank you, madam. You have taken good subject and good explanation.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay, if you share the PPTs, it's well and good, madam.
Yeah, sure, sir.
Okay.
I'll send my PPT.
Okay, madam. Thank you.
Yeah.
So if no more questions, we can end the session.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jayalalitha, for the wonderful sessions on MATLAB. So your lecture gave an insight about solving various types of equations numerically using MATLAB. Hope our participants have something to take home. Thank you once again for for accepting the invitation as a resource person. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
I wholeheartedly thank all the organizers. I know how much effort is required to conduct such an event. And thank you very much, Radha Gupta madam, for such a great initiative. Thank you.
Thank you all participants. We will join for the third session at 1:55. Sharp at 1:55. So 2 o'clock we'll start the session. Thank you so much.